The camera fades in on black and white stills. Ali MacGraw in that white turtleneck from Love Story, eyes wide with impossible innocence. Cut to Steve McQueen on a motorcycle, leather jacket scarred like battle armor, the king of cool staring straight into the lens. Champagne flutes clink in slow motion. Private jets, Malibu sunsets bleeding gold across their skin. They had everything. The world wanted to be them. But here's what nobody asks. At 85, Ali MacGraw finally spoke the words no one wanted to hear. Not the fairy tale, not the magazine spreads. The truth behind closed doors in that fortress of a house in Troncos Beach. The control, the isolation, the slow, methodical erasure of the woman the world once called its most beautiful. Their marriage wasn't a romance. It was a prison built from the very fame that made them legends. And the bars were forged in childhood. Back to the cracked sidewalks, back to the hunger that never left. Steve McQueen was born Terrence Stephen McQueen in 1930 in a shotgun shack outside Indianapolis. His father, a stunt pilot and circus performer, vanished when Steve was 6 months old. His mother, a fragile, hard-drinking woman who drifted through bad men and worse decisions, left him with relatives, then yanked him back, then left again. By 9, he was on the streets of Los Angeles, sleeping in alleys, stealing hubcaps to eat. Stepfathers came and went like bad weather. One beat him so badly he ran away for good. Another threw him down a flight of stairs. At 14, the state scooped him up and dropped him at the California Junior Boys Republic in Chino, a reform school dressed up as South.
In the dark, I will never be small again. The hunger became his engine. He clawed his way into acting classes, into bit parts, into the Marines, then back out. Every role was a debt he owed that scared kid on the cracked sidewalks. Every woman he bedded was proof he could keep what he took. Every dollar he stacked was armor against the day it all disappeared. Ali's crucible was quieter, but no less sharp. Pound Ridge, New York, 1939. A house full of paintbrushes and silence. Her father, Richard, a commercial artist with Scottish ice in his veins, an elegant loner who could vanish into his studio for days. Her mother, Frances, Hungarian Jewish, the disciplined breadwinner who kept the lights on and the masks in place. Artistic privilege, yes, but beneath it, the pressure to perform, to be perfect, to never need too much. Ali learned early that beauty opened doors, and beauty could also lock them. She modeled to escape. She acted because the camera finally looked at her without demanding she shrink. By 30, she was Elizabeth Alice MacGraw no more. She was the Ali MacGraw. Fresh-faced, untouchable, the girl who made love means never having to say you're sorry a cultural scar. They met on the set of The Getaway in 1972. She was still married to producer Robert Evans. Steve was still married to Neil A. Adams. Chemistry didn't just spark, it detonated. Within months, Ali left everything. Husband, career momentum, the life she had clawed into existence, and ran to Steve. They married in 1973 under a blazing California sky. The world cheered. Hollywood's ultimate alpha and its ultimate ingenue. What could go wrong?
Everything. This was the prison of fame. Steve had built an image, no, a fortress around being the man who needed nothing and no one. The cool gaze, the clenched jaw, the motorcycles and the Mustang and the refusal to smile for the cameras. But fame had handed him the one thing his childhood never allowed: total control over the narrative. And he exercised it with surgical precision. Ali was the ultimate trophy, the most desired woman in America. And trophies do not have careers. Trophies do not have opinions. Trophies do not glance at other men, even in passing. He demanded she quit acting. She did. Overnight, the woman who had carried Love Story on her slender shoulders stepped away from the spotlight because Steve McQueen could not share it. Not with her, not with anyone. He installed her in the Troncos house like a priceless artifact. Phone calls were monitored.
Friends were slowly erased. Her son from her first marriage, Josh, watched his mother disappear into the role of Steve McQueen's wife. Steve's jealousy was not passion. It was pathology. He would grill her for hours. Where were you? Who did you see? What did he say? Until the questions became accusations, and the accusations became rage. He disappeared for days on benders of cocaine and tequila and other women, then returned volatile, paranoid, convinced she was doing the same. The validation gap yawned wider every year. Steve craved the one thing his mother and every woman after her had denied him: absolute, unbreakable trust. He wanted to be the only man in her universe. Instead, he became the warden. Allie craved the one thing her icon status had stolen:
The right to be more than a face. She wanted respect as an artist, not a symbol. She wanted peace. She wanted the freedom to breathe without asking permission. Hollywood denied her both. The public saw the golden couple. The cameras saw the glamour. No one saw the woman slowly suffocating inside her own legend. How does the richest person in the room become its loneliest occupant? Steve's trauma answered that question with brutal clarity. The boy abandoned by his father, beaten by stepfathers, locked in solitary, learned that love was something you seized and then chained down before it could leave. His controversial habits, serial infidelity, drug-fueled rages, the iron grip on Allie's every move, weren't gossip. They were symptoms. The same fists that once raised against him now clenched around the woman he claimed to love. The same fear that once sent him running into the night now sent him running from the house, only to circle back and accuse her of the very abandonment he had suffered. He isolated her because isolation was the only safety he had ever known. Allie's own patterns shifted in response. She began to drink. She tried cocaine. Not because she wanted to party, but because numbness was easier than confronting the slow erasure of herself. She had traded one controlling man, Evans, for another who made the first look tame. The psychological twist was cruel. The very hunger that made Steve McQueen a star was the same hunger that devoured their marriage alive.
And yet there were moments, brief, blinding flashes of the fairy tale. Steve teaching her to ride motorcycles, lazy afternoons on the beach with the kids, nights when the rage quieted and he would hold her like she was the only real thing left in his chaotic world. There were wonderful days, Allie would later say, and dreadful days. The wonderful ones kept her hoping. The dreadful ones kept her trapped. The first act of their story ends on a single frozen moment in Steve's youth, the one that would either save him or destroy everyone who ever tried to love him. It is 1944. A 14-year-old boy stands at the gates of the California Junior Boys Republic. Concrete walls rise behind him. The desert wind cuts like glass. He has just been thrown down a flight of stairs by yet another stepfather. His body is bruised, his spirit feral. A counselor looks at him and says something no adult ever had. You can change. Not you must. Not you're worthless. Just you can.
Steve McQueen stood there, dirt under his nails, rage in his throat, and made the choice that would carry him all the way to Hollywood royalty. He chose survival. He chose control. He chose never to be that small again. He had no idea that decades later, that same choice would become the cage he built for the woman he loved most. And Allie MacGraw, 85 years old now, voice steady, eyes clear, finally looked back across the wreckage and named it for what it was. Not a love story, a tragedy written in fame, fear, and the long shadow of cracked sidewalks. The camera lingers on a single photograph, Allie and Steve on their wedding day. She is smiling. He is not. Between them, invisible to the lens, stands the boy from reform school,
fists clenched, eyes scanning for the exit that was never really there. Fade to black.